So I'm here with Mick Schumacher. Mick, how's your day been? How's everything going?
Yeah, so far so good. We had a couple meetings, did the track walk, and yeah, now basically just gonna do the media round, and after that, hopping into the car, make sure everything is fine, and then we're back off to the hotel.
Awesome. And you're back at Interlagos. Is that a favorite track of yours?
But it actually is, yeah, it's top three, definitely. And when I came here in Formula One, I really enjoyed it straight away. In 21, obviously, a great car to come in, has a bit less so, but I think overall it was just an amazing track to experience. So very excited to see how it's going to be with the wet car, the hypercar, obviously being a bit heavier, a bit less downforce. Track seems to be quite dirty, so hopefully throughout the weekend we'll be able to clean it pretty well, so that when we get to qualifying and race, everything's going to be just fine.
But how's everything going so far this year? How do you think it's all gone?
Um, I would say pretty unlucky actually. I mean, we've had a few incidents where we should have had points easily. We should have been probably in the top six, top five a couple of times, where we haven't quite been able to deliver that for a reason or another. Yeah, no, I think that Le Mans, we had a really strong car and we were set on for a very, very good result. Unfortunately, obviously, with the double DNF of the team, we kind of didn't manage to get to that point. But we're very happy to now get an opportunity to kind of redeem ourselves a bit from that event. Hopefully, with you know us being able to understand the project that we have a bit better, the car that we have a bit better, and then hopefully just putting everything together and getting a good result here. That would be ideal, and that's what we're shooting for at the moment.
Yeah. And I guess, what do you think you can do in the remainder of this year? Do you think podiums are maybe out of reach, or do you think it's possible?
It obviously depends a bit on certain circumstances that I can't comment on here, but um, frankly, I don't see a reason why not. I think we have the speed, we have the skill set to do that. We have very experienced drivers and very fast drivers on both cars, and I think that if everything goes well, we should be able to fight for it. Yes.
Yeah. And obviously, as you said, the cars now that you're driving in WEC, they're a lot heavier. I was going to say, how have you adapted to that shift from single seaters, open wheelers to now these closed cockpit, quite heavier cars? Has that been easy or quite challenging?
Still trying to get used to it. To be honest,
Yeah,
it's obviously not quite easy to always do that, but overall, I've felt like I've been able to kind of manage the switch between the two. Basically, the two cars are so different in some ways that actually it is makes it somewhat easier to shift from one side to another. And I am doing quite a lot of testing still with F1. I mean, I recently just sat in the McLaren, obviously also in the Alpine bipolar card. So I feel like I've been able to really handle it well, going from one series to the other. But it is definitely challenging whenever I come here to kind of work with the weight that we have, and obviously the project is quite young still, which makes some of the tools a bit analog, if that makes sense, and not quite as fluid as we would like it to be yet. So we are still in a development phase, I'd say, and I think it will take the whole year to till we get to a decent spot. And I think that's just down to the nature of the for one the project, but also the series and the championship. But you can really feel with every day that we work on this car, we're getting better and better. So there's definitely an upwards trend.
and I was going to say, I mean, you mentioned there you've been testing with a load of F1 teams. There's a lot up in the air. Are you able to comment on next year? Will you be, do you think, with Alpine again, or do you think maybe you'll be elsewhere?
We'll have to wait and see. I think obviously everything is very open in Formula One at the moment. I mean, there are still essentially 3, 4 teams that definitely have no seats kind of under contract, which means, uh, as some of the other drivers commented, one particular driver is the cork in the bottle, I guess you could say. And the moment he kind of decides where to go, it'll definitely open up a lot of those movements in the other teams. And I think it will go pretty quickly after that. Now, saying that, a lot of teams don't have the pressure to make a decision right now, which also leaves me a bit in the air, of course, for that. But Formula One will always have priority in everything that I do. So as long as that's not completely closed for me, I will wait and focus on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. You've got 8 rounds of the World Endurance, then you've got all the testing and all your media duties. How do you handle such a busy schedule? Is that difficult, or do you find that quite easy?
I don't know. It's definitely been a very long year already, with a lot of traveling and with a lot of commitments on top of just the racing. And personally, I think I'm at a point where I'm just very much excited for the summer break. Have 2, 3 weeks off and not think about too much. Obviously, still going to be a very busy time for me, just because things can happen any moment. So you have to stay vigilant and stay alert, but obviously try and also recover some of that energy that you spent in the first part, because the second part is not going to get any easier. So um, I'm trying to take things day by day, but also look ahead to moments where I'm off.
Yeah. And I mean, part of that probably took a lot out of you would have been Le Mans. How do you reflect on your debut? Do you think it went well, or do you think there's a lot of potential left on the table?
Well, actually, it didn't take much out of me because I still got like 10 hours of sleep. I mean, we didn't really get far into it. So after 6 hours, obviously everything was done. I, for some reason, couldn't really sleep that night. I went to bed at like 2 a.m. or something, just because I couldn't kind of grasp what was going on in that sense. Obviously, very disappointing that we weren't able to stay in the race, because I think we had a very strong car. I mean, we were fighting with the '83 Ferrari for a very long time, and in the beginning, and we were quite up to speeds with them. And then unfortunately, we took the wrong decision. But same as the 80% of the grid took the choice to go onto the wets. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of potential in there, and we saw it, and that's what's really important to us. We'd rather be fast and not finish than finish and be slow. I think that's definitely a positive that we can take away from it.
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't just you. There was to a lot of fans, Valentino Rossi he DNF'd as well. So I think it's really sad to see that, to be honest, from a fan's perspective. But just on that, how has it been, sharing the track with people that you might not have, like Jensen Button with Valentino Rossi and loads of the other guys as well? What's that been like?
Well, you never really know when those drivers are on the car, so you just see the same car
True.
going around the track. Um, so in that sense, it hasn't been all that special, all that different.
Okay. And would you like to see any other drivers potentially make the switch over from maybe F1 to WEC or from other series as well?
I mean, I do hear a lot of people are interested in WEC. A lot of the drivers that don't get the shot at Formula One, or are on their way out. So, I think that WEC has become a very valid second option next to Formula One. So, you know, I enjoyed my time here, but for me, there's nothing better than Formula One. So, my constant thought is Formula One, and that's what I really want to do. Obviously, when I'm here at a race weekend, I'm here to work and WEC, and that's obviously what I focus on. But definitely, my ultimate goal is to be back in the Formula One car.
Yeah. And there's currently, I think I said already, but there's so much going on for you, and there's 8 races in WEC and all this stuff, but there's no races even in F1 or this championship. There's no races in Germany, your home country. Do you think that needs to change? Would you maybe like to see more races added to the WEC calendar?
I think they're trying to come back to Germany. Obviously, it's a bit difficult at the moment with everything that's going on, but hopefully with the future coming and the new generation of cars, maybe Germany will be more willing to get Formula One back to Germany, which would be amazing. So, but yeah, I don't have any more infos to that whether or not it's going to be back on the grid. And for WEC, I think more races are great, but also I think you shouldn't overdo it because WEC is a great championship also because you have the ability to race in different championships at the same time as WEC. So if you make more races, it will definitely compromise some drivers who are doing such as LMS at the same time or Formula E. So people will start to have to choose between one or the other, which might lead to again less competition on track.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. All the best for this weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you so much.
I really appreciate it.